Hello! So, as of the time of writing this script, I have just come from the theatre. As of the time of recording this voiceover, that was yesterday, and as of the time of releasing this video, it's probably 1 to 2 weeks after. The show I was seeing was Starlight Express, and because I can't just enjoy anything, I'm making a video about it. This being a theatrical show, I have very limited footage from it, so I'll probably be filling this out with other B-roll of trains. So, Starlight Express is quite an old musical these days. It's written by Andrew Lloyd Webber with lyrics by Richard Stilgoe, but there have been other creative voices involved over the decades. This is a show with a ridiculously complicated history. It was directed, in this production, by Luke Sheppard. It is a musical about trains. It's probably most famous for the fact that the entire thing is performed on roller skates by a bunch of people pretending to be locomotives and items of rolling stock. I mean, when you put it that way, it doesn't make much more sense. It's set on a child's model railway and revolves around the trains on it. There is a big race between all the trains, which is the main overarching plot. Our protagonist is Rusty, a steam locomotive. The antagonists are Greaseball the Diesel and Electra the electric train. Rusty is in love with Pearl, the first-class coach, and wants to win her heart, win the race, and prove that steam engines still have what it takes. The whole thing is very kinetic. It is extremely fast-paced. I'm not going to pretend that it's a very deep musical, but I don't think it's trying to be. It's just fun. The visuals and choreography are spectacular, and the cast are absolutely magnetic without exception. The set is absolutely insane, with the cast moving at high speed around and even through the audience. Even if you don't like theatre as a rule, I think you'll have a good time with this show. But it's a weird show. It actually started out as an animated adaptation of the Railway series stories, or as they're probably better known, the Thomas the Tank Engine stories. A pilot was made in 1976, it wasn't picked up, and it is now considered lost media. Lloyd Webber wrote a song the following year entitled Engine of Love for Earl Jordan, which didn't chart but would show up in various forms in various versions of the show. In 1982, a concert was put together which was enthusiastically received and would lead to the actual show, which made its debut in 1984. Among others, it starred Lon Saturn, Francis Ruffelle, and Danny John Jules. It was very unusual because it had a contemporary pop soundtrack. These days, that's not uncommon in musicals, but at the time, not so much. There were pastiches of other styles appropriate to the train characters, like Popper is an early 20th century steam locomotive, so he sings the blues. Greaseball is a 1950s Union Pacific diesel, so he sings rock and roll. Electra, the modern electric engine, gets a very synthy 80s number, and so on. Of course, what is contemporary doesn't stay contemporary, so the show has had several updates. Characters have changed, been taken out, been put back in. Entire subplots have been rewritten, removed, or added. I don't think a single one of the songs is exactly as it was when I first saw the show back in the early 90s. Over time, it's developed a big cult following. We saw a few people who'd dressed up for it or done their makeup like characters from the show. As for me, basically, when I first saw the show, I absolutely fell in love with it. I think it was the first big West End musical I ever saw, and it was also kind of my introduction to the possibilities of theatre. The idea that you could do a musical about trains using people in costumes absolutely blew my 9-year-old mind. I got the cast recording on cassette, that's how long ago it was, and listened to it until it wore out. I saw the show a couple more times, but then I sort of lost track of it. That is not a pun on train track. Or musical tracks. I got into theatre in a big way in my late teens, for complicated reasons involving accidentally getting cast in a play, and I guess my tastes shifted. A couple of weeks back, my mate Alex, who has never seen the show, asked if I'd like to see the revival, which is at the Troubadour Wembley Park Theatre, possibly because I'd been waxing nostalgic about it. I was expecting to dislike the revival, not because I thought it was going to be bad per se, but because I was so familiar with an earlier version of the show and I can be a bit of a stick in the mud like that. But there were definitely aspects of the old version that perhaps wouldn't play too well on the modern stage. Like, the original played by the same rules as the railway series. The locomotives were male, the coaches were female. Now there are a few female engines, including two of the main characters. Popper is now Momma, and Greaseball is now still called Greaseball, but is female now. So yeah, initially I was thinking, ooh, a lot of woke nonsense. But it worked fine, partly because they're, trains, but also just because the actors were really good. There's other things, like the character of Pearl has been rewritten to be actually likeable, which was kind of missing in the original. I have other things to say about the changes, good and bad, but reading this script I realised that most people wouldn't care about them. So that part of the script is also lost media. There was one aspect that I really didn't like, and that was the costumes. Now, these did win an Olivier Award, so maybe this is a me problem, but I really liked the old costumes. They were all very individual. You could instantly identify every character by sight. Obviously, you can't straight up make a person look like a train, but they did a great job of taking elements of trains and incorporating them into the costumes, as well as other elements appropriate to the character. And I just didn't really get that with this production. I mean, they would have been amazing costumes for, say, a musician doing a gig, but there wasn't much about them that said trains. To be honest, at times I really had trouble remembering which character was which because the costumes were too similar. I don't know, I tend to get a bit of a bee in my bonnet about costume. I used to do a bit of it in my theatre days. Mostly amateur though, so who am I to talk? So, my verdict. Well, on the whole, it was a very fun night. I would watch it again and I would recommend it to others. I was never bored. Honestly, it moved so fast that I thought it was a lot shorter than it actually was. If you are expecting a deep and intellectual work reminiscent of the late Samuel Beckett, this is not the show for you. But I had a good time, the rest of the audience had a good time, and it is a show with a cult following. It's at the Troubadour Wembley Park Theatre, easily reached by the Jubilee and Metropolitan lines of the Underground, which are kind of the opposite of the Starlight Express. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to make a greaseball costume. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm not much of a theatre reviewer, but I figured this is a show about trains, so it's kind of on brand. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like and consider subscribing for more. I would like, as always, to thank my donors on Ko-fi, on Patreon, and here on YouTube for your generous support. You are the Starlight. And I will see you all again very soon. Cheerio.